Yo, what's up? Uh, Boozy. All right. Yo, doing some little different shit. Been working on some commission art. Yo, Black Thought to hold first ever hip hop class at Carnegie Hall. Wow. But working on this as a commission. Hmm. Yo, did y'all you hear this year?
I would eat Donald J. Trump's ass. You heard it here first. If Trump wins, put it in my ass. Put it in my ass. Put it in my ass. Trump can literally piss on my face. Trump I wouldn't care. Shit on my face and I would be so happy. I would fucking die for Trump 2020. I would die for him. Put it in my ass. And Barron, you can put it in my ass too. Barron's 13 years old. Anybody deserves anal. Okay, no. Barron does not deserve anal. He is 13 and he's a child. Put it in my ass. What's your favorite Trump policy? I'm big on the immigration thing. I love Latinos. But MS-13 is actually the biggest piece of shit I've ever met. Face tats are ratchet. And I hate Bernie Sanders, you fucking Bernie Sanders is a communist, and communism does not work. I honestly have no idea what that word means. Liberals are also retarded. No offense to liberals. Actually, full offense.
Donald Trump can shit on my face and I would fucking love it. Mm. What's wrong with him, bruh? I can't call it. Damn, bitch is crazy. I would fucking die for Trump 2020. Like, you're fucking crazy, man. And Barron, you can put it in my ass too. Barron's 13. Oh, wait. The other girl said, everybody deserves anal. You anal slut. I would fucking die. Fucking die for Trump 2020. Alright. right, okay. Okay. These bitches crazy. Oh, shit.
It was failure to signal, right?
Yeah.
How does that one fit in? Because that girl was pulled over.
Mm-hmm.
The cop was it was failure to signal, right?
Yeah, I mean it's a bullshit thing.
It's a bullshit thing.
Yeah.
And she started lighting cigarettes. He told her to put the cigarette out, and it all escalated from that. She said she doesn't have to put the cigarette out.
Yeah.
And then he says he's going to light her up. He's screaming at her. He pulls her out of the car. He arrests her. And then, is there controversy about whether or not she committed suicide in jail?
There is. I don't get into that.
Okay. Because that seemed unlikely.
Yo, Sandra Bland
That she
didn't kill
was killed.
herself.
That she was
Well,
supposed to commit suicide.
Yes, it seemed likely that she was killed versus that
Oh.
she committed suicide. I didn't think that someone would commit suicide being in jail for 3 days, especially one of the things that you highlighted in the book and you actually played in the audio version of it, her little sort of affirmations, and she sounded very positive and upbeat and calling everybody kings and queens, and and thanking God and being very thankful and being aware of life and humility and just graciousness and gratitude. It didn't seem, obviously you don't know. What kind of dark things can happen to a person when they're incarcerated for 3 days for a bullshit reason. Maybe that's the straw that broke the camel's back. But
she did have, she had a complicated emotional history. She had previously tried to commit suicide. And she was emerging from quite a difficult period in her life and went to Texas to start a new leaf. And so there is an interpretation. Like I said, I don't really have strong feelings on this particular part of the story, but there's an interpretation that says, here's a woman who's emerged from a very difficult period in her life, leaves, she was in Illinois, she drives halfway across the country to start over, and on the first day that she arrives in Texas to start over, she gets pulled over by a cop. And by the way, she had thousands of dollars in outstanding tickets. So she had a history of this bullshit stuff with cops where, the same trap that many poor people in this country get into, which is the police use people as an ATM, right?
Yes.
They set them up on trivial things, and when they can't pay the fine, they get another fine, and when how that goes. She was in that trap. So here she is trying to start over after a difficult time. First day she gets to Texas, she gets pulled over again, and she, in her mind, it's the same. She's like, oh my God, I tried to start over and I can't.
Yeah.
And then she's in jail and she can't make bail. And there's a scenario where you can see that she just began to despair.
Don't they take away your shoelaces and do
Small town Texas.
Yeah.
Oh no, they said it was a trash bag.
I find the whole thing about, I went to that town when I was reporting book, and it's kind of hard to kill someone and get away with it requires a level of expertise and forethought that struck me was not present in that little town in Texas. I
see what you're saying.
It's just not. They're not thinking. These are not people playing chess, right? I think it's this encountered it with this cop, and he's not very good at his job, and he gets way over his head, and he completely misreads her, and he pulls her off to jail, probably deeply regrets the whole incident, and they're all embarrassed and sitting around and hoping it'll just all go away. And meanwhile, she's all alone in a prison cell,
Michael Gladwell?
deeper and deeper into
No, this dude
depression.
is retarded.
I think it's almost more tragic
That she commits
that she
suicide.
committed suicide.
It's insane that you can keep someone in jail for 3 days for failure to signal. It seems like there should have been an initial review of the circumstances that led to her getting pulled out of the car in the first place, and the cop should have been fired immediately. They should have, like, you're screaming at her because she lit a cigarette
Yeah.
in her own car?
Meanwhile, this is fascinating, and I feel like, I don't know, you and I are probably the same age. There's this, so the cop's 29. If you grew up with cigarettes, you have a different understanding of the meaning of lighting a cigarette. So what's happening in the encounter is, he pulls her over. What he does is he sees her coming out of this university campus, and while she's still on campus property, she rolls through a stop sign. And then he notices that she's got out-of-state plates, and she's a young black woman, and she's driving a Hyundai, like not a Mercedes-Benz. And he thinks, I'm going to check this out. So she pulls onto the road, and he drives up behind her aggressively. He speeds up behind her. So what does she do? Well, what any of us would do. She gets out of the way, thinking, he's going to, the scene of an accident or something. I better get out of his way. She pulls over to get out of his way, and he goes, you didn't use your turning signal. And he pulls her over and pulls him behind her. Now, by the way, whenever I hear a fire department truck or a police car coming and I pull over to get out of the way, I do not use my turning signal. Right? You just get out of the way. It's reflexive.
Right.
So her immediate thought is, when he does this, is like, this is bullshit, and he tricked me. And he knows what he's doing. That's exactly what he wanted. He wanted to get her in a situation because it's all a pretext. He thinks, maybe there's something weird with her. So then we have this all on tape, of course, because this is one of those instances that was captured entirely on the dash cam, the officer's dash cam. He goes up to the window and he says, he looks at her and he realizes she's agitated. Why? Because she's pissed off. And he goes, ma'am, there's something wrong. And she's like, well, I want to know why I'm pulled over, blah, blah, blah. And then he goes back to his car and he comes back to her. And he later says in the deposition that when he goes back to his vehicle to check on her license and registration, he begins to develop suspicions that she's up to no good, she's got drugs or guns. And so she comes back and they commence to have this increasingly heated conversation. And she lights the cigarette because she's trying to calm herself down. And this is my point. You and I, who grew up in an era where people smoked all the time, know that one of the principal functions of lighting a cigarette was to calm your nerves. And in her mind, I think, she's trying to signal to the cop, let's de-escalate this. And one of the ways I'm going to show you that I want to de-escalate this is I'm going to take a moment and light a cigarette and just take it down a notch and let's have a real conversation. He doesn't understand the meaning of that gesture. And he thinks, he thinks several things. He thinks, one, she's messing with me. She's defying my authority by lighting a cigarette. She's going to blow smoke in my face or something, nefarious. Or she's going to, take the lighted cigarette and put it out of my... He has these kind of weird, crazy fantasies.
This is what he said?
In the deposition. Oh, yeah. So even on the level, I try and identify in the book all of the different ways, and this is when I come back to the case at the end of the book, I go through this in more detail, all the different ways in which he completely misunderstands her. And one of them is he doesn't understand the meaning of lighting a cigarette in a moment of tension. And that's, still more evidence why you need, if you're a cop or anyone dealing with a stranger, you need to slow down and not jump to any conclusions because there's so much you can miss.
What it seemed to me when I listened to it initially and then I listened to it again in your audiobook, there's a thing that happens with police officers. And I've never been a police officer, but I was a security guard for a brief period of time, and I recognized it in myself, and I recognized it in a lot of people that I work with, is that you start treating the other people like the other. Like it's us and them. It was us. I worked at Great Woods. It's a performance center in Mansfield, Massachusetts, like this. And we would catch a lot of people smuggling booze in, things like that. And there was an attitude that you got, and I was only there for one summer, but there's an attitude of they were the bad people, and you were the good guys. It was us and them, and we stuck together, and they weren't us. And cops get that 100 times worse because there's guns involved and they can get shot at. We've all seen videos of cops pulling people over, and he says, "Can I see your hands, please?" And the guy pulls out a gun and shoots at him. We've all seen those videos. Those are this is all always in the back of the mind of cops.
Yeah.
And I think that was just a guy who, as you said, 29 years old, is a young guy. He's not that bright, not good at communication, and he has this attitude that he's a cop and that you have to listen to the cops because he's them and you're you.
Yeah.
And that's like when he's telling her to put the cigarette out, and she's saying, "I don't have to do that," and he's saying, "Get out of your vehicle," and she's saying, "I don't have to do that," and then he's screaming at her. I mean, that's all right there. I mean, that's what it seems like to me. He wants compliance. He wants her to listen.
He does. Yeah, he does want. He gets. It's funny. What's remarkable about that tape, which I must have seen 50 times, and which has been viewed on YouTube, even like a couple million times, is how quickly it escalates.
Yeah.
The whole thing it's insanely short.
Yeah.
You would think, if I was telling you the story of this, you would think, oh, this unfolds over 10 minutes. And it doesn't. It unfolds over a minute and a half. I remember years ago I wrote my second book, Blink, and I have in that book a chapter about a very famous, infamous police shooting in New York, case of Amadou Diallo.
I remember that one.
Remember that one where he was shot like 40 times by cops?
Yeah.
And one of the big things I was interested in talking about in that case was how long did it take for that whole terrible sequence to go down? So from the moment the police developed suspicions about Amadou Diallo to the moment that Amadou Diallo is lying dead on his front porch, how much time elapsed? And the answer is like 2 seconds. It's boom, boom, boom. It's like, and I had a conversation with, actually here in the Valley with Gavin DeBecker. Has he ever been on your show?
No.
Fascinating guy.
We were security expert,
yeah,
right?
Security expert. Incredibly interesting guy.
He's friends with Sam Harris. I know that.
He is. Yeah. And he was talking about this question of time, that when you're a security guard guarding someone, famous, a lot of what you're trying to do is to inject time into the scenario. Instead of, you don't want something to unfold in a second and a half where you have almost no time to react properly. And what you want to do is to unfold in 5 seconds. If you can add, I'm making this up, I can't remember his exact term, but basically what your job is to add seconds into the encounter so that you have a chance to intelligently respond to what's going on. And so he hit this great riff about how good Israeli Secret Service guys are. And one of the things they do is they're either not armed or they're trained not to go for their weapons in these situations. Because his point is, so say you're guarding the president, you're a body man for the president, you're walking through a crowd, somebody comes up to you, like pulls a gun, wants to shoot the president. His point is, if you're the secret security guy, and your first instinct in response to someone pulling a gun is to go for your own gun, you've lost a second and a half, right? Your hand's got to go down to your whole focus is on getting to your own gun, and in the meantime, the other guy whose gun's already out has already shot. You've lost. You need to be someone who forgets about your own gun and just focuses on the man in front of you, right, and protecting the president. But it was all in the context of time is this really crucial variable in these kind of encounters. And everything as a police officer you should be doing is slowing it down. Wait, analyze what's happening. And that's what he doesn't do. The cop in this instance speeds it up. Right? He goes to DEFCON, she lights a cigarette and within seconds he's screaming at her. This is like, a parent shouldn't do that. I mean, let alone a police officer by the side of the highway.
Right, but the difference is he knows she's not a criminal. I mean, he must know. It's bullshit. He's pulling her over because he's trying to write a ticket. And the way he's communicating with her when she lights a cigarette, it's like she's inferior. Like, this is not someone who's scared. He's not scared of a perpetrator. He's not scared that there's a criminal in the car about to shoot him. He's not scared of that at all. He wants utter, total, complete compliance, and he's talking to her like he's a drill sergeant.
But can't both those things be true?
How so?
Well, in the deposition he gives, which I get to the end of the book, and I got the tape of the deposition, it's totally fascinating. It's like he's sitting down with the investigating officer looking into the death of Sandra Bland, and he's got, I don't know how long it is, 2 hours, and he's walking them through what he was thinking that day. And he makes the case that he was terrified, that he was convinced. He says he goes back to his squad car, comes up, and there's some evidence to support this. So he pulls her over and he goes to the passenger side window and leans in and says, "Ma'am, you realize why I pulled you over, blah, blah, blah." And says, "Are you okay?" Because she doesn't seem right to him. She gives him her license. He goes back to his squad car. And he says, while he's in the squad car, he looks ahead and he sees her making what he calls furtive movements. So he's like...
Furtive movements, how so?
He thinks she's being all kind of jumpy and... You don't know. He just says, "I saw her moving around in ways that didn't make me happy." And then when he returns to the car, he returns driver's side, which is crucial because if you're a cop, you go driver's side only if you think that you might be in danger, right? He doesn't. If you go driver's side, you're exposing yourself to the road. The only reason you do that is that when you're driver's side, you can see the... It's very, very difficult if someone has a gun to shoot the police officer who's pulled them over if the police officer is on the driver's side, right? You have an angle if they're on the passenger side. So why does he go... If he thinks she's harmless, there's no reason for him to go back driver's side. I think these two things are linked. I actually believe him. He constructs this ridiculous fantasy about how she's dangerous. But I think that's just what he was trained to do. He's a paranoid cop.
Mm.
And then why is he so insistent that she be compliant? For the same reason. Because he's terrified. He's like, do exactly what I say because I don't know what's going to happen here, right? And she's... I don't know. I don't think those two strains of interpretation are mutually exclusive.
Mm. That's interesting. It didn't sound like he was scared at all. It sounded like he was pissed that she wasn't listening to him.
Yeah.
I didn't think he sounded even remotely scared. I felt like he had... I mean, we're reading into it, right? I have no idea. But from my interpretation was he had decided that she wasn't listening to him and he was going to make her listen to him.
Yeah.
That's what I got out of it. I didn't get any fear. And I thought that version of it that he described just sounds like horseshit. It sounds like what you would say after the fact to strengthen your case.
Well, so there's another element here that I get into, which is I got his record as a police officer. So he'd been on the force for, I forgot, 9-10 months. And we have a record of every traffic stop he ever made. And when you look at his list of traffic stops, you realize that what happened that day with Sandra Bland was not an anomaly. That he's one of those guys who pulls over everyone for bullshit reasons all day long. So I think, I've forgotten the exact number, but in the hour before he pulled over Sandra Bland, he pulled over 4 other people, for equally ridiculous reasons. He's that cop.
Yeah.
And he's that cop because he's been trained that way. Right? That's a kind of
quotas.
Strain of modern policing which says, go beyond the ticket. Pull someone over if anything looks a little bit weird because you might find something else. Now, if you look at his history as a cop, he almost never found anything else. His history as a cop, in fact, I went through this, I forget how many hundreds of traffic stops he had in 9 months. If you go through them, he has once he found some marijuana on a kid, and by the way, the town in which he was working is a college town, so, I mean, how hard is that? I think he found a gun once, misdemeanor gun, but everything else was like pulling over people for, the light above their license plate was out. That's the level of stuff he was using. He did this all day long, every day. So he's like, to him, it's second nature. Yeah, pull her over. Who knows what's going on? She's out of state. She's a young black woman.
Was this comparable to the way the rest of the cops in the force in his division did it?
Well, I didn't look at the rest of the cops on his force. What I looked at were state numbers. Wherever several American states give us, like North Carolina, for example, will give us precise complete statistics on the number of traffic stops done by their police officers and the reasons for those stops. So when you look at that, so I look at the North Carolina numbers, for example, and the North Carolina Highway Patrol, it's the same thing. They're pulling over
Yo, what up, bro?
unbelievable numbers of people and finding nothing. Like 1%, less than 1% hit rates in some cases. Hit rate being something of interest. So like they're pulling over 99 people for no reason in order to find one person who's got a bag of dope or something in the car. You cannot conduct policing in a civil society like that and expect to have decent relationships between law enforcement and the civilian population.
Yeah, no question. But doesn't that sort of support the idea that he's full of shit, that he was really concerned that she had something? He had never encountered anything.
Well, or
this was the one.
The fantasy in his head is so... What? So the question is, why does he keep doing it? If this is a guy who day in, day out pulls over people for no reason and finds nothing and continues to do it. Now, there's two explanations. One is he's totally cynical and thinks this is the way to be an effective police officer. Explanation number two is this is a guy who has a powerful fantasy in his head that one day I'm going to hit the jackpot. I'm going to open the trunk and there's going to be 15 pounds of heroin and I'm going to be the biggest star who ever lived.
I think there's also a rush of just being able to get people to pull over. The compliance thing, which is another reason why he was so furious that she wasn't listening to him.
Yeah.
And she kept a cigarette lit.
Yeah. Or she was listening but not complying.
Yes.
Yeah.
What are the laws? I mean, are you allowed to smoke a cigarette in your car when a cop pulls you over? How does it work like that?
Yeah. I mean, of course. Yeah. I can't stop you from engaging.
They can't tell you to put out your cigarette. There's no law.
No, he could have said. I mean, no, there's no law. I mean, although, two things. The courts historically give enormous leeway to the police officers in a traffic stop, as opposed to a person-to-person stop. But no, I mean, this is about what he should have said is, he could have said, ma'am, do you mind? I would prefer if you put out the cigarette while we're talking, or I'm allergic to smoke, or whatever. I mean, there's a million ways to do it nicely. The point is, he's a jackass about it.
But he's basically doing the job like a jackass. He's doing a jackass version of being a cop.
Well, so this is one of a really, really crucial point in the argument of the book, which is, I think the real lesson of that case is not that he's a bad cop. He's in fact doing precisely as he was trained and instructed to do. He's the ideal cop, and the problem is with the particular philosophy of law enforcement that has emerged over the last 10 years in this country, which has incentivized and encouraged police officers to engage in these incredibly low reward activities, like pulling over 100 people in order to find one person who's got something wrong. That has become enshrined in the strategy of many police forces around the country. They tell them to do this. I have a whole section of the book where I go through in detail one of the most important police training manuals, which is required reading for somebody coming up, in which they just walk you through this. Like, it is your job to pull over lots and lots and lots and lots of people, even if you only find something in a small percentage of cases. Why? That's what being a proactive police officer is all about, right? So they are trained that phrase, go beyond the ticket, is a term of art in police training. Like, you got to be thinking, you pull them over for having a taillight that's out, but you're thinking beyond that. Is there something else in the car that's problematic? That's what you're trying to find. So he was being a dutiful police officer, and the answer is to re-examine our philosophies of law enforcement, I mean, you can't dismiss this thing by saying, oh, that's just a particularly bad cop. Well, it's not great, but I don't know if he's any worse than, he's just doing what he was trained to do. That's the issue. He should be trained to do something different.
Right, that is the issue, right? The issue is this is standard practice to treat citizens that are doing nothing wrong as if they're criminals, and pull them over and give them extreme paranoia and freak them out.
Yeah.
I hope you find something.
I was home, I'm Canadian, and I was home in Canada, small town Canada, a couple weeks ago, and I saw on the back, how police cars often have their slogan on the side of the car, the back of the car. So in my little hometown in southwestern Ontario,
I can't believe that this guy actually thinks that Sandra Bland did in fact commit suicide, and you're saying you researched the whole case and read the deposition and the statement from the officer and all of this stuff, and you wrote about it in your book, and your conclusion is that Sandra Bland really did hang herself and commit suicide. That shit is fucking crazy and outrageous, ludicrous, and plain stupid if you believe that. But this guy is trying to word it so and make the officer seem like such a character that, you know, this murder couldn't happen inside of a prison. And Epstein. You think Epstein really killed himself on suicide watch? Come on, man. How you watching this man to make sure he don't commit suicide and he still commits suicide? That's bullshit. And cops can kill people behind closed doors and get away with that shit. We're going to tell you exactly what we want to tell you, and there's no way you're going to figure it out. Sandra Bland hung herself with a trash bag in her prison cell. What prison cells got trash bags in it? What prison cells got trash bags big enough to tie a knot around your neck and tie a knot around a pipe, exposed pipe? Or what prison cells got exposed pipes? How do you hang yourself? Have you ever been in a prison cell? This guy has. It's a block. There's nothing protruding or sticking out other than your fucking toilet. I don't see how you're gonna hang it. You're gonna hang yourself on the bunk bed with your sheet. Get the fuck out of here. But they say she did it with a trash bag. Huh. And Jeffrey Epstein just choked his own self to death. He just choked himself to death in front of the whole suicide prevention team. Bill Clinton flew on that man plane 26 times. Yo, Bill Clinton, what the hell you flying with Jeffrey Epstein to his little private island 26 times? You know what, Hillary? I think we need to have this man X'd out. Exactly. The stories just sound so falsifiable that it's ridiculous, even absurd for you to insult my intelligence by telling me such shenanigans. I refuse to believe that a woman who was pulled over for failure to signal hung herself in jail over that bullshit. Oh, they're gonna suspend my license. Like, nobody's gonna kill themselves over some traffic violations. They want you to believe anything, though. She hung herself, and then even her fucking mugshot photos, some people scrutinize those pictures and make the observation that she may already be deceased in her mugshot photos. They probably killed her before they even had a chance to photograph her. It's the weirdest thing. That's why I try to keep my nose clean. Cause You ain't gonna kill me in prison or some crazy shit. Have these motherfuckers come to my house and shoot me up talking about, oh, he committed suicide. He shot himself in the back with a shotgun. How I shot myself in the back with a shotgun? They'll come up with any kind of story. Like my man, the one actor, talking about he hung himself, but his hands was tied behind his back. How you tie your hands behind your back and hang yourself? You gotta have your hands free to do something like that. Man, they just tell so many stories, bro. I think it's preposterous, absurd. You know, I would even go as far as to call it a fabrication. But hey, look, man, I don't know shit. I don't know what the fuck I be talking about. You know, I just have a opinion. Man, opinion just like asshole. Everybody got one. You know, my opinion does not amount to shit. It really don't. I just like the way it sounds. It pleases me. Hey, people got their own opinions, and in this man's opinion, he said, man, Sandra Bland killed herself.
You know, farm country. The slogan on the back of the police cars is "People helping people." Right? It's so Canadian. Right?
It is so Canadian.
It's awesome. And like now, understand this is a country with very, very low levels of gun ownership, which means that a police officer does not enter into an encounter with a civilian with the same degree of fear or paranoia that the civilian has a handgun, right? Which is a big part of this. Mm-hmm. Regardless of how one feels about gun laws in this country, the fact that there are lots of guns makes the job of a police officer a lot harder, and every police officer will tell you that. In Canada, you don't have that fear. But it's also Canada, and it's small town Canada. And so when you encounter a police officer in my little town, he's people helping people. Right. He's like driving like a Camry, and he's like this genial person who...
Was it really a Camry?
I mean, I've forgotten exactly what they're driving.
They're
not driving
cop cars.
Yeah, Explorers painted black with like big bull bars at the front.
Right.
And then you go, I mean, even in LA, like the cars are painted black and white. They look... Mm-hmm. So they look ferocious. I mean, the whole thing
is that what it is? They look ferocious? They identify as police.
To a Canadian looks... To me, it looks a little... Why do they have to paint them black for that? It's not the Oakland Raiders. I mean, it's like...
What do you think they should paint them?
Something mild and...
Like bright yellow?
Something lovely, something warm.
Lovely.
Like a nice... Can you imagine like a teal or a lime green?
Well, that would be, because there's a lot of black cars and a lot of white cars, not a lot of teal cars.
Let's go with
So
teal.
it would stand out. Like, it's a cop in his pink car.
But, this kind of symbolism matters.
Right.
Right? You're projecting an image.
Sheriff Joe Arpaio, who makes all of his prisoners wear pink. Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Well, I mean, against his point, though, how many women shoot cops? Isn't that an insanely low number?
Yeah.
I mean, insanely low. I mean, what are the numbers? I mean, it's probably almost non-existent.
Yeah.
When guys pull over women, I don't think they're worried about being shot. I really don't. I think it's horseshit. I think it's all after the fact.
Yeah.
He was trying to concoct some sort of an excuse.
Some sort of excuse for...
Is he still in the force?
Yeah.
No. He's kicked off for... I've forgotten the precise language they used, but for basically being impolite to a civilian. But I don't think there's a lot of but I don't know whether, I mean, I still think we're saying the same thing, which is the thing that's driving him, his motivation, is not rational, right? And if you were a rational actor, you would never engage in an activity where 99.9% of your police stops resulted in nothing.
Right.
He is off in some weird kind of fantasy land for a reason, which is that's what in certain jurisdictions in this country, that's what has come to look
Right.
like.
Yeah.
And that's problematic.
It's a huge problem.
People are not asking the right questions. They're not asking the right questions because they kind of think they already know the answers.
Technology is being used that we would never believe was possible.
Beginning in 1954, gravity control was mastered.
Nazi Germany, they were developing flying saucer technology using anti-gravity.
With the reverse engineering of extraterrestrial vehicles, we figured out zero-point energy. If that were to come out, it would be the end of oil, coal, nuclear power, all of it.
Okay, Bob Lazar. His name is Laser. Bob Laser. Man says Lazar. I'm gonna call him
Sorry.
Lazar.
Well, that'll never get repeated in podcast history.
Well, we fucked that up. We thought we were recording. We were saying how Bert is the only person we know who's both funny and a great promoter. Like, usually you get one or the other. You get someone who's really funny, but we're talking about Bert's. We thought all this was being recorded.
Oh, it would have been so much better if they got that
The
natural
audio
thing.
is being recorded the whole
Oh.
time, just that video, so I can leave that in the MP3. Everybody can download that beginning.
Oh, okay.
All right, give it to one of those cartoonists to make them make the
Well,
video.
for everybody do the audio, we're going to stop now. We're going to double repeat ourselves. So a bunch of people. Bert used to have a show called Hurt Bert, and that one disturbed me the most because
I don't remember this one at all.
Bert, he would do a bunch of stupid shit and get injured.
But he's really getting hurt.
That's right. He's doing jujitsu with some kid and some red belt kid who's with Hori and Gracie.
He really
yeah.
When he was that young, he really reminds me of that frat guy
Yeah.
that he was. I can't really see it now, but this is him like 4 years removed from that.
This guy keeps armbarring him. He doesn't know what to do here.
Kid is
I think-
108 pounds.
I think part of it, he's also going along with it, enjoying.
He's got to take the offensive. Fuck that.
Wow.
This kid will never see it. He's played duck twice, or possum twice. Now
How
he's
about
Russia.
that video that I showed you that Bridget Fedesi showed me? It's a video of this guy who's on a school bus, and
It starts with a bus driver throwing a little kid off.
off the school bus, screaming at him, and then a bunch of people are like, "What the fuck are you doing, man? You
They
can't
chase
do
him
that."
back onto the bus. They
The
should.
bus driver gets back on the bus, and then they check the
not
little
feel
kid.
remorseful.
Are you okay? And they realize this little kid with like a lunchbox and everything is actually a grown midget, and he's pretending that he's a little kid hanging out with these little kids. And the bus driver found it.
Dude, the look at everybody's face when they say, "Wait, he's not a kid," and they're all
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I was mad."
So
I was
he's got the
confused.
lunchbox. He throws out his lunchbox and then he grabs him.
He throws him.
Yeah, it's crazy. Because he's got a little
And they
kid's
was like,
backpack.
"What the fuck are you
People are ready
doing?"
to beat his ass.
Beat the bus driver's ass. They
So-
saw him chuck off a little kid. That's
Yeah.
a 5-year-old's body.
People ready
She's
to
called
fuck
the
him
cops.
up. Yeah, and then they get to him to see, "Hey, are you okay?" Now watch this. They go. That's a grown ass man. So that dude was pretending to be.
Now everybody's confused. Look how confused they all are. Like, I was mad before. I don't know
I think I gotta see
what to
this
think
shit
now.
That's crazy.
They look like they just saw David Blaine.
That's crazy. Why did we bring that up? Why were we talking about that?
That's a great question.
That has nothing to do with Bert.
Something to do with Bert, but I don't know what that was.
What does it have to do with
It's
with
what else
Bert?
we were talking.
No.
The kid was beating up Bert in
I don't
jiu-jitsu.
remember.
Welcome to November.
Yeah, this is
I gotta find this video. Midget gets kicked off the bus. Let me see. Yo, this shit was set up, yo. Yo, that shit was set up, yo. I think that shit was fake. Just how the dude, how he threw the kid off. It's a midget. He threw the motherfucker off the bus, and he just kind of like rolled on the ground and just laid on the ground for a minute. Didn't really say like shit. He didn't even say nothing. And then how the girl was like approaching the guy who threw him off the bus, you can tell like she really wasn't fucking serious. Evil. What up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up? I ain't sure if I'm gonna keep this line on here just because I traced it from the frame, but it's like way crooked on this canvas. So now I might just, cause I did the last one this way, just measured it and made sure it was alright. So that's 9 inches. Alright, 9 inches, 4.5. 4.5. That's 12, so that's ba 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 ba. Alright. The boy's on a roll like butter. Why that don't look straight to me? Alright. Just trying to find the center of the canvas so I can. Ha 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 ha. You be patient until you can figure out how to carry the weight of the bigger vision. Because I want to do some canvases that's 10 by 20. I don't have the room for it yet. I have the vision. It'll come one way or another. I just got to be patient. You know? Patience is the key. Oh. How wide is this thing? This is 7.5 inches. This is 9 inches. Which is a difference of 1.5 inches. So it's a difference of 1.5 inches. So that means I can put 3/4 on each side. Help me do this math, people. I'm not. Come on, man. What it is? 3/4. 3/4. 75%. That's 1, 2. Okay, that's 3/4 right there. So if I flip around this way, I'm guessing. I'm not a carpenter. That's 3/4. Wait a minute. Feel like I'm fucking up this canvas. Alright, 3/4 here. If I do it like this, I guess I can do it this way. Oh. Fucking this canvas up, man. Yo, Coke. Appreciate it. So if I draw a line from here, wait a minute. Get on the good foot, boy. If I draw a line from here to here, like that. Ooh. Alright, one more time. If I draw a line from here, if I draw a line from here to here, like that. Okay. So now, as I need, okay, I measured. So those two lines, if I'm not mistaken, oh boy, them shits lined up perfect. 7.5, right? 7.5. So this way is that's 9.5. And this is 12, right? So that's 2.5. So 2.5 is 1 1/4 on each end, right? So that's 1 1/4 on that side. And then 1 1/4 this way. And then 1 1/4 on this side. And 1 1/4 here, which is, come on, man, somebody help me do this math, bro. If I fuck this shit up. Measure twice, cut once. But if you're drawing, you can just go, because you can erase it, you know, because it's not like cutting. It's a way different. Ways are different. Alright, so if I draw a line from here to here, and I draw a line, why don't that line look, shit look crooked as hell, man. I said 1 1/4. It's 1 1/4. Added a 16th onto that thing. 1 1/4, 1 1/4. Draw a line from here to here. Alright, like that. Now, so which one don't I need? Ooh, that's all messed up. So I don't need this. And I might have to paint back over that, obviously. Yeah. A little paint, a little something, something. I don't need that. Don't need this. And that's the way I should have did it the first time, instead of just trying to be all quick and easy. It made me take more time to do it. So that square should fit inside of this square perfectly, or damn near perfect. Hey, the boy know how to use a damn ruler. What? Let me find out. Who taught you that? Alright. So I need this. It's wet. Gonna need a little bit more black paint on this one, because I was being a dumbass. Oh, did I remember those measurements just now? What it was? It was 1 in the. It was 3/4. Fuck. It was 3/4 and then 1 1/4, right? To make the square. Should have wrote that shit down somehow. Ooh, Sunday morning. Ooh, Sunday morning. Ooh, hey, I'm single, so I gotta cook my own dinner, which means I gotta get off of here soon because I'm hungry. But I worked today, and it was a longer day than normal, and I forgot to take something out of the freezer to cook, so I'm gonna have to cook a quick man's meal. And I hate that it even called a quick man meal, because that shit ain't even quick, yo. But I'll probably put me a chicken pot pie in the oven. Them shits take an hour to cook, though. I need to go heat up my oven now, because I don't feel like I'm about to be starving. I'm eating the hell out of this chicken pot pie. What? Chicken pot pie and a ginger beer? Delicious. Alright. So I think I'm going to do... Let me get these measurements again. So this was 3/4, and that was 1 1/4. Perfect. I remember that. I remember now, boss. You said yeah, this way. Where that other tungsten? Alright. I'm gonna get up out of here soon. I want to show you guys chilling in Brazil. What's good, bro? I want to show you guys the projects that I'm working on, because this is some commission art, which means I'm getting paid. What? All right. 3/4. 1 1/4. Right? That's what I said, so that must be what it is. All right. 1 1/4. So, boom. So this one is 3/4. And this is 1 1. 1 1. This is 3. Yes, yeah, 3 there. And this way is 1 1. 1 1. And this way is 3. It just feels easier if I do it like this. This way is 3. This is 3. And this is 1 1. Okay, so now draw my lines. Draw this line from here to here. Hold it tight. Hold the line. Hold the line. Alright, like that. And draw this line from here to here. Make you smile from ear to ear. I ain't saying these perfect, but they are the damn near. Alright. So now I'm just trying to, because these maps are just a little bit wider than the canvas. So just making sure that I'm painting in the center of the canvas, so when I go to put it behind the mat, yeah, it lines up. And so it'll line up nicely in there when it's in the back in the black. Or you getting black in the back. Whichever way you like it. You know, I'm not too picky. You know, I'm not too picky. I'm gonna go with the flow type of dude. You know what I'm saying? So if you want some black in your back, holla at me. Alright, so this is a commission project, or several small commission projects all together now. Ooh, almost dropped that one. Can't do that. On some amateur type shit, can't do that. So I'm making these for a coworker. Ooh, wow. A co-worker of mine realizes that I make pretty good art, and so she wanted just some simple line designs and sacred geometry and stuff like that. So been working on these, and wow, I've been here for over an hour already. But I did have to prep some more black canvases, so that's a big part of it. And I've just framed this one when I came in. So I worked on that to get it in the frame. You know, it looks nice and cool, and it's simplistic in its design. Here's another one that's a little more complicated. More circles and triangles in there. But really don't do art like this, so this lady is getting like some really really unique stuff from me, and she wants 6 of them. So I have 2 of them done already, and we're gonna be working on the next 4 of them for the next couple days and over the weekend. I also have a photographer who wants to do a photo documentary of me and my work, and he's actually going to come here to my studio is in my house, so he's going to come to my house and basically just shadow me for a day or so. So this weekend you probably see some guy in the studio with me. Like, who the fuck is that guy? Just know he's a pretty cool photographer. I actually interviewed him for my TV show, and he's a really cool guy. Pretty easy to talk to, you know what I'm saying? So I can imagine, like, and I admire his photography, and he admires my art, so he just wants to, like, you know, do a small collaboration with me, and we probably just sit around and the same shit I do now. It's not going to be much different, except I have somebody in the studio with me, just sit around, talk the shit. Probably, you know, depending on what time of day it is, might drink a beer or something. You know what I'm saying? Smoky, and just fucking chill and hang out and see what kind of photos he can develop from it. And who knows, it might be some shit I can use in my own art. Like, yo, let me get that picture of myself, because I'm about to do another self-portrait right now. I'm already working on another self-portrait. Do I really need more? Does he smoke? It's a strong possibility. I'm not sure 100%, but maybe. You know, I'm not trying to put everybody's business out there if they don't want their business out there. But man, let me get up out of here. I ain't gonna lie, I'm hungry. I gotta go get this oven started. So I do have the next 2 canvases prepped. It's she wants 6 pieces. And for some reason she just got one. She got this one frame this size, and it's smaller than all of the other frames. So this one will be the only one that is this size, and I almost just realized that. For some reason I thought there was at least 2 of these frames this size, and so I actually started another smaller canvas. So I had prepped this one black and got this ready, and I was like, oh, I'll just do the next small one, but there aren't any more frames this small, so I was like, fuck, just prep this for nothing. So I had to prep another black one. But essentially what I want to do is have, if there's going to be 6 pieces, I want to have 3 black ones and three black backgrounds with white designs, and 3 white backgrounds with black designs. And so that she can, you know, set them up however she wants to. You can put all the white ones together and all the black ones together, or alternate them back and forth, or, you know, pair them up in 2 and 2 and 2s, or yeah, the geometry collection. It's an isosceles. It's an equilateral triangle that's produced by the radius of a circle. Math, basically, it's math. But I figured it'd be cool just to have 3 and 3, you know, because if I did all of them black, Might seem racist if I did all of them white. Just can't live with myself like that, you know. So just keep everything balanced, man. You know, just try to find this harmony in the middle. You know, being in the middle is peaceful like. And I have burnt my time. So let me get this brush cleaned up. Alright, got 2 in the frame, so that's good. I got 2 in the frame, and I got 2 canvases prepped. If I'm diligent, I can go to bed early, get up early, hit the gym, come home from the gym, and maybe at least get 1 drawing done on one of these. And then take it from there for the rest of the day and see how things go. Is this brush really clean, or do I need to go run it under the sink? That might be alright for right now. Yo, for sure, bro. Actually, you know what? I could just take this downstairs. I was gonna say I was gonna play the game while I, you know, watch the stove and whatnot. But I can actually, as long as I'm not up here in the studio, it's not too bad. 'Cause I'll forget about shit if I'm up here. But I can just take my compass and my protractor, my ruler, my pencil, and I can take one of these down with me. Well, this one already has the X in the middle. I tried to kill Walker a few times, bro. I don't think you can kill him yet. Like, nobody can do it. Like, the bullets just bounce off of him. They just ping off, like, ping, 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 and you die. I tried it 3 times, and I died all 3 times, so you can't. It don't seem like you can kill Walker, and it doesn't seem like you can get to the raid island on Gollum Island or whatever, so I don't know. I was just trying to finish up all this. I'm just doing all the faction missions and all the side quests and shit right now. I'm not even attempting to kill Walker again. It's weird, bro. Like you can't do it. I don't know. I haven't looked up any video footage or gamers, you know, typed in how to kill Walker in Ghost Recon. I don't know if you can kill him or if, you know, if I'm just doing it wrong or whatever. But I haven't seen anybody else do it, so I might actually look that up and be like, yo, how do you kill fucking Walker? That one looks kind of weird now because I had to paint on top of the thing. Let me see. I'll just take this one down. Take this, and this. And, yeah, I can do a quick drawing. Speaker is off. Turn the heater off because it's cold as fuck up here in Northeast PA. Turn the laptop off. That light's not on. The game is broke. Death Stranding, I have watched a couple of hours of people play that, and it's so weird. Everybody's calling it a walking simulation, like you're just a delivery boy. But at the same time, they say it seems like the story just takes a long time to progress, and later on in the story, it may pick up and be a little bit more action-driven, but it's just, I don't know, and as much of it as I've watched, I think I would just rather watch someone else play it instead of actually going through it myself. And it's like, you guys have fun with that. Let me know when you get to the next chapter so I can watch a little bit more. And Hideo Kojima is so famous video game designer that we know who he is. You know, most people play video games and could care less who helped write the script or develop the characters or come up with the ideas or concepts and shit like that. Like, most people don't know who's the face behind Call of Duty. Like, most people don't fucking care. Nope. All we know is the one guy from Bethesda. I can't think of his fucking name right now. Fuck. Tom something. Anyway, most people know the guy from Bethesda, the spokesman for Bethesda, the one dude from Rockstar, and Hideo Kojima. And that's it. But even though I love Hideo Kojima and cause his Metal Gear Solid games actually changed my life as a gamer, they're probably some of the most impactful game experiences that I've ever had. Like, Death Stranding just does not seem like it's a game for me. Sorry, Kojima. But yeah, I'm gonna take my canvas elsewhere. Screw you guys. I might turn the camera on downstairs. So I really wouldn't mind playing the game right now, but I do need to be productive. What time is it? It's 8:30. It's 8:30. That means I won't be able to eat until 9:30 because that pie takes an hour to cook unless I eat something different that's quick and fast, and I don't have anything that's quick and fast to eat. I should get like everybody else and just, stock my freezer with fucking fish sticks and chicken nuggets. Can't eat shit like that though. This is gonna be crazy. Alright guys, I'll catch you guys downstairs in like 5 minutes. Hit the notification bell so you know when I start the stream back up. That is if you're a subscriber. Yeah. Where's the controller for the PlayStation? Alright. Appreciate everybody watching. We got a good bit accomplished. It doesn't seem like we did a lot, but we actually did, and we're working on some commissions, which is always good when people want to buy your art. So I think I might work on the commission a little bit more downstairs while I cook dinner. Once again, appreciate everybody coming to the studio, dropping in with some of that art and education. You know what I'm saying? Power to the people, all power to all people. If I don't catch y'all downstairs, I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.